Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. I'm going to be doing a quick video on Bitcoin today. I'm sure a lot of you have some different thoughts and feelings about it, especially since in the last week we have had a gigantic move. We went up, we were around this 51,000 range, and then, man, did we shoot up to these levels we're currently at right now. A 23% move, that's crazy from where we were to where we are. If we zoom out a little bit more, as you can see, since the last time we had a sell signal on the weekly, which was in here, Bitcoin overall has moved up about from where it is 36%. Actually, we're up here. Sorry. 50%. My bad. I saw a dotted line over here. So Bitcoin has been moving. It's been doing great. Something I wanted to show you guys. Again, fear and greed. Know when to be cautious, when to look for value. Crypto on in the last year, our level of greed has been higher than it's ever been. And if we zoom out, it's still going up. Do I think the price can still go higher? I'm leaning that way because a lot of factors are looking bullish. However, you do want to be extra cautious, especially as we get into these extreme greed areas. When we were in extreme greed over here, the price crashed down. Now, here, this was the getting towards the end of the cycle when greed was just maxed out and accumulating for a while, even though we went down. This time right here was the first top of the last cycle for Bitcoin, right in here. That's where that was. Extreme greed was in here as we broke into new all-time highs. So I think greed is setting up to see if we're going up here, if we're going to break into new all-time highs. I have this bubble risk indicator on, and guys, you can see it's higher than it's been in a while. So we have it at, what's the level right now? A little over 38. And obviously, this is when the price is way lower, but when we're in extreme fear and all of a sudden we're pumping up and going, let's measure this out. When we're pumping up and going 70% higher, that's why greed can spike. So it depends how fast it's moving. Here you can see greed. That was even higher, or the bubble risk, that was even higher. That was at 44. That was that second Bitcoin top. Look at this first Bitcoin top. This is how much higher we can go if we're going to start ripping up 116. That's crazy. And down here was more similar to the levels we're at now. It was even higher. So as we rip higher, maybe we're going to see the bubble risk indicator start to shoot up. Now, obviously, the darker the colors, the more cautious you want to be. Long-term investing, you want to get in when the bubble risk is down here, when it's in these lower colors. So if you are taking the patient approach, which I always endorse, and try to increase your time in the market instead of trying to time the market, then the time to get in was in areas back here. And we can even take this off and take a look at some other indicators, like when to buy on the weekly. These are good value times to get in. We can even zoom out and go to the monthly. We had two key times to buy on the monthly indicator. So right now, Bitcoin looking extremely bullish. Be extra cautious. I'm not saying it can't go up. I'm not saying altcoins can't go up. And a lot of the altcoins have been going up. And if we just take a look at the last year, a lot of them are at yearly highs or close to it. So do your research on your altcoins, especially because, I mean, look at this. Altcoins are just breaking into higher territory. So if you do your research and you try to get in on an altcoin right now, do know that you're very much increasing the likelihood of not seeing great returns in the short term. It's possible it could just run up and then all of a sudden dunk 50%. So something to keep in mind with how these altcoins move. You are taking extra risks here. I do like when there's more accumulation, when we're in the oversold region, when greed in fear when that index is at, when it's down here. However, we're up here. So again, just be extra cautious with your money. Obviously, nothing I say is financial advice. And, if you're one of those people who believes we're in another one of these 4-year cycles and we're getting ready to rip on up, sure, maybe you think that this is one of the last times where you could put in a little bit of money. Sure. However, even if you do believe this, do know there can be massive pullbacks, as you can see back here. Let's go to that on the chart. Let's measure out some of these massive pullbacks, and maybe you wait for one of those. No guarantees it's going to be lower in price when we do get those massive pullbacks. Let's measure this out. So even after the COVID bottom, when we were up here, we still had a 17% move. Once we got into all-time highs, guys, even before we peaked out, do know you can get these. That looks about a 30% drop down. You can wait for a weekly buy signal. This was around the halving in 2016. From that peak right before the halving to there, it dropped 35%. And then even on the way up, we got these 30% drops. This one looks very similar again. This cycle so far, we've been getting 20% drops. All these dips here, I'm not going to measure them all, but that here and that, those have all been 20% drops. So if you're willing to be patient, maybe you wait for the next one of those, and then on the weekly, you can wait for the next buy signal. We haven't even had a sell signal in a while. So just trying to show you how you can still wait for that and find value. If we did get another 20 or 30% drop from where we're at right now at 63, that's close enough. Where would that put us? A 20% drop would put us back down to that fib, that 236 fib, I believe it is, and we'd be at around 48,000. No, not the 236. That's the 382. Sorry. Oh, I measured it the wrong way. It's early, guys. I apologize. It's at the fib line. All right, shoot me. If we had a 30% drop, look at that. We would be around where all this accumulation happened, around 42,000. That was the accumulation before the ETF approval. And then we came back up there and went through something I didn't talk about it in yesterday's video. Anytime we have a very short, strong move up, when we get a pullback, if we retest the highs and go down, that move down tends to be pretty strong. But if we retest that high from a strong move and shoot up, the next move tends to be parabolic. So I could still see this going higher. I could still see, I have a feeling, I think that this will touch into all-time high territory for Bitcoin. What it does from there, I don't know. I would assume that a big correction is probably coming. You can see here we had one little week there, but 4 weeks up, 5, 6 weeks up, 4 weeks up. Now here we had a bunch. That was like, what, 15 to 20? And here we're at 5. So if you believe in just the average amount of time up, maybe we're up here. And something to not forget about is the stock market. If the S&P is showing weakness and all of a sudden it has a bit of a move down, 10, 15%, that can bring crypto down with it as well. So let's say if in stocks, March was a bad month, crypto is going to feel that too. And it'll probably be to the tune of 20-ish%, 30%. Even I would be looking for some deals there on altcoins. So just want you guys to be cautious. Don't just FOMO in all because everything's ripping up and you're worried about missing out. Do your own research, assume your own risks. Remember, market data is not enough to predict future results. So even though we've had these cycles, maybe we're going to get another cycle. I don't know for sure though. No one does. So just as we're getting up here in this rainbow chart, as we get elevated, do not buy up here in these orange to red areas. It's not financial advice, but I've been through a couple of these. I would not recommend buying up there. The time to buy is down here. Okay, so if you did miss out, maybe you can wait on the next correction. At least be smarter with your money. And of course, all the profits aren't realized unless you sell up in these areas. If you do not sell any of those altcoins, trust me, they can tank a lot. So if you're buying up here and you don't sell near the top, when your altcoins tank, the value can, and I've seen this happen, can be lower than even when you buy them in at a lower area of Bitcoin. I've seen that happen, so just be extra cautious. Anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. Take care.